everyone, this is my mid-September book wrap-up because those of you that have watched my TBR for this month know it's at 19 books, which is just insane and I'm fairly miserable to get through. So this is a short wrap-up video, otherwise it will be massively long at the end of the month, of what I've managed to read so far. First up, I'm going to start with Skullduggery Pleasant, Playing with Fire. This is book 2 of the series. Finished reading this. This is our bedtime book, so hubby reads to me before I fall asleep, basically. Really enjoyed this. It's more wit and wisdom of Skullduggery Pleasant, loads more sarcasm, things are progressing nicely. Spoiler alert maybe, that Stephanie's magical abilities are progressing, and a heads up, this one's a lot more gruesome than the first one, so if you've got a younger reader on this series, just be aware the gruesomeness goes up a notch in this book. Very enjoyable. I've been blitz reading through Jodie Taylor's St. Mary's Chronicles, so end of August I read No Time Like the Past. This is book 5 in the series, so can't give you much without giving spoilers, but needless to say, I really loved it. It's got the emotional punches in there as well, and Max is really having to sort of deal with a few things going on in our life, which is really nice. So this was on my September TBR, but I actually managed to read it before September started, so technically I can't count this as one I've read this month, but it was completed. Then I did book 6 of the series, What Could Possibly Go Wrong. St. Mary's is holding a fete to reopen themselves after the events in book 5, and lots of things happen that cause problems and aggro for some of our main characters, and yeah, I can't give you too much either with this one. I will say this one reads more like a time travel book. There are lots of jumps throughout time in this. It's very clear why there are lots more jumps in history throughout this one. But again, I can't tell you much without spoiling it, so go read the series. And then I read the short story in here, which was Ships, Stings and Wedding Rings, which fits just after What Could Possibly Go Wrong, or possibly just in the middle of it maybe. A very funny, very funny little short story where the team just get up to their usual mishaps. I've blitz read Death of a Nurse by MC Beaton, yet another one in the Hamish Macbeth Chronicles. I will say I started reading this and didn't like Hamish very much. He just seemed to be judging every female he met based on her appearance. And it's like, really? What are you doing? No, this is not the Hamish Macbeth I know, just stop that. But he did sort of settle down and sort himself out and get a grip with what he was doing and solve the murder, which was really cool. I finally finished Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. This is book 4 in the Throne of Glass series. This one is dealing with more the revenge, the consequences of Selena's past, and basically giving everyone a real give kick, you know, I've come back and I'm gonna sort things out, and that's very much what goes on in this book. So I picked up the next one from the library. That's a whole different story, and we'll be blitzing that, and then I can read Tower of Dawn, which my husband picked up for me as well. This was a little sneaky book that's come into the TBR pile, so technically I have 20 books on my list now. This is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first in the DC Icons series that the DC Universe has decided to jump onto the bandwagon of YA success and tell some stories of their biggest heroes using famous YA authors. So Leia got to do Wonder Woman. Obviously she's a huge fan of Wonder Woman. There's a great piece on her blog about what Wonder Woman means to her and all that. So this must have been a great honour for her to write. I will say, if you were expecting something to follow on from the film or even the comic series, forget that. This is like a fresh start for YA readers that know nothing about Wonder Woman. You don't even need to have seen the film to get this book at all. It's set in our present day times, so completely different sort of world building that Diana has to adapt to. And it follows a lot of foundations laid down in Greek mythology. So the Warbringer in this book is directly descended from Helen of Troy, and it's very interesting to see how the author managed to wrap Greek mythology into a modern day coming of age story. This book is very much about friendships and loyalty and the lengths you would go to be remembered, as it were, and finding out what's important. I thought, actually, once I got my head around the fact that it wasn't related to the film, it was a very enjoyable read. It was very much sort of a traditional YA kind of story. There wasn't too much heavy violence in it. There was a little bit of swearing, but nothing huge. And it was just a really good friendship story. So I really enjoyed this, and I am looking forward to the rest in the series. I have to confess, I had to take some library books back, so I've swapped Treachery at Lancaster Gate for another book by the same author. This is Blood on the Water, so I might get around to reading this, I don't know yet. And I'm currently ploughing my way through Wonder Woman Chronicles Volume 3. Oh my gosh, this reads like a Dick Barton radio series. It really does. Each comic piece opens up with a spiel overview of what the story's about, and then pretty much every box has this lovely bit in purple that I just heard in this radio series narrator voice. So it's not what I'm used to reading. I'm not particularly enjoying the style of what I'm reading, and some parts in here are very dated. These are written in 1943, and boy do they feel like it. But there we are. And I've started Wicked Like Wildfire. This is by Lana Popovic. This was August's Fairy Loot box. I'm enjoying this. It's quite entertaining. I'm trying to detach myself from the fact I think this should be a more of a fantasy set novel, which actually seems to be set in our world. But obviously a very little remote part of our world, so it can have that magical element to it. But certainly things are now kicking off. I think the plot is starting to take over, the storytelling. I've had some nice character build up, and it's quite interesting. I'm enjoying it so far. So that's where I am on the, what date is it? 18th of September. That's as far as I've got. So 7 books, of various lengths. So I'm not even halfway though. We'll see how we go though. Wish me luck. I'm trying to plough my way through the rest of the TBR list. It doesn't help. I went to the library on the weekend and I've come out with 5 more books. I know, this is getting out of hand. Anyway, as always, social media links are in the description box down below. Twitter, Goodreads and Instagram if you fancy following me. If you'd like to give this video a like, click thumbs up. If you want to be notified of when I post new videos, please click the little bell down below. And please go and check out the book blogs. I will link in the description box down below. Thank you very much for watching and happy reading. Bye!